The reindeer were tired and hungry. At last, ahead of them was a very big old house. "Is this really the right place?" the deer asked each other. "Yes, the sign says it's the refuge." "Do you think they'll help us?" To protect the manor and its deer, 2 powerful lions sat guarding the entrance. The deer gingerly approached the lions. One lion growled. Rudy turned to run, but Prancer stood his ground and said, "Hi, is anyone at home?" Suddenly, the door opened and a voice boomed, "Welcome, come on in. My name is Charles Reindeer. How can I help you?" The deer trooped inside, and while they looked around, they told Charles their story of kidnap and escape, how they needed help to send a message to their home to tell Christina they were okay, but lost. Charles introduced them to all the other deer and said, "You're welcome to stay here while we send a message to her to ask her to come and fetch you. Now come and make friends with the lions. Don't show them any fear. Be bold. Come over and stroke them. That's it. Give them a cuddle." As the deer stroked and nuzzled the lions, a bit nervously, the lion started to purr with pleasure, a great rumble that shook the house. "They're the guardians of the manor. Now they know you. They'll guard you with their lives. Follow me. You'll soon learn your way round the house. Here's the great hall where we have meetings. Now let's join the others for lunch." Somehow all the deer found places at the table. Charles invited the willow deer to the head of the table beside him and his young son. During lunch, Charles told him that his family had always lived at the manor. He hoped they would live here for many more generations and never stop giving shelter to lost deer. The first part of the manor had been built in the 14th century and extended in the 1500s. After lunch, they all went outside, playing or relaxing in the courtyard. Rudy, always curious about things, was fascinated by the gargoyles. Charles Reindeer, reading a letter, sighed heavily. "This is very bad news. It says I have to prove that I own the manor, or I'll be evicted. If I don't give proof, the bailiffs will arrive in a week's time, next Friday. If only I could find the missing deed granting the land to my ancestors. I've looked for it everywhere in the manor house, but family tradition says my great-grandfather buried it somewhere in the grounds." All week they searched the grounds without success. Snowy days and sunny ones, searching all the time for the hidden document. Suddenly the deer heard a commotion beyond the house, men shouting and deer shrieking with fear. They hurried round to the front of the house to see what was happening. They were horrified at the sight of a group of men wielding truncheons and a melee of deer in a panic. The men's leader yelled, "We're the bailiffs! We've come to take over the manor!" Bravely, the deer were trying to push the men back, but the men beat at them with their sticks. It was chaos. Where was Charles? He'd put a stop to this. But he'd gone out to collect his son from school. "One of us must run to fetch him," shouted a deer. "Who's the fastest?" Rudy leapt forward. "That's me. I'll run fast and bring Charles back to sort out this mayhem." He galloped until his lungs were bursting, desperate to reach Charles. He raced through the town, people moving quickly out of his way. "Thank goodness here's the school," he thought, "and there's Charles and his son." Rudy breathlessly gasped to them, "Quick, back to the manor! You're being evicted! The bailiffs have arrived!" Meanwhile, at the manor, the situation had got worse. The youngest orphan deer had been captured. "All you deer will be going to the zoo. Your time's up. We're taking over now," the man said. "We can put a dozen houses here instead of this old pile." Threateningly waving their sticks and clubs, they advanced towards the deer. who were dodging and weaving to avoid being hit. Then the deer scattered. The men grouped, angrily brandishing their clubs, and turned to face Prancer. With Rudy gone, Prancer was the only deer with antlers. He had to take the role as leader. He had to stand up to these bullies. He faced them, pawed the ground, shook his antlers, and roared the traditional stag battle cry. The older deer hurried to form a brigade behind Prancer, ready to leap into action, ready to kick and headbutt the men. It was a battleground, with Prancer in the lead. The lions, hearing Prancer's war cry, stirred and rumbled. Looks like we're needed. Don't want to miss a good fight, do we? They padded menacingly forward and took positions flanking Prancer. They roared, a full lion roar. Back off, or you'll be sorry. The lions and Prancer took a step forward. Just in time, Charles, his son, and Rudy arrived back. What's going on? Why are you here today? It's Thursday. You're a day early, shouted Charles. The bailiff huffed. We're just checking out the place today. We'll be back here tomorrow. And with that, they turned and left. Charles patted the lions. Thank you, lions. And Prancer, you are a hero. But what can I do? Cried Charles. Well, Christina's coming over tomorrow. Maybe she can help. Right, now everyone back to searching. Leave no stone unturned. We've looked everywhere, except in that old ruin at the far end of the grounds. They all went there to search. The small deer weren't much help, so Comet and Cupid were kept busy looking after them. The small deer's antics dislodged some earth. Half buried under a stone, Rudy nosed out an old box covered in sacking. He tore away the sacking from the box. They took the box over to the house. Just then I arrived, met Charles, and greeted my dear. It was a relief to see them looking so fit and well. But what were they doing with the strange box? Rudy explained he'd just dug up this box. What was in it? Charles tried to open it, but he was shaking with such emotion he couldn't lift the lid. He passed it to me and asked me to open it. Oh my goodness, it must be old. It's not paper. It feels like fine, thin leather. Must be parchment. It's got a heavy wax seal with royal emblem. What's the date? Oh, here on the back, dated 1591. It looks like a royal grant of the manor and land to your ancestors, Charles, for services to the king in perpetuity, for always. Charles was overjoyed. The manor and the refuge were saved. Everyone joined in the celebrations. No more bailiffs, no housing estate. They were safe. My reindeer were reluctant to leave straight away. They wanted to stay and help at the refuge as volunteers for a week or so before coming home. I told them the route to follow, and they promised to be home soon. But did I believe them?